माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakaacharya Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra ki jai Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahaganda Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We saw a very nice drama a short while ago, and we saw a couple of heroes there. Who were the heroes from that drama? Kolahal? Who was the hero? So who was he? Yamunacharya. He is of course the main hero of the drama. For a while he forgot the path. It happens. You get caught up with the external energy. But there were other heroes behind the scene. Ram Mishra. Did you see how his preaching was? He didn't try to directly go up to the king. You are in Maya. Just surrender to Krishna. He was so intelligent. Quietly, steadily, from the background, he was preaching. And this particular herb, Tuduvalai, this kind of spinach, has a very special quality that it induces the mode of goodness in the mind. So when you eat that, your mind becomes calmer and you become more receptive to spiritual topics. So food plays such an important role in developing our consciousness and receptivity. Ever wonder why some people are just not, most people in the world today are not receptive to Krishna consciousness? Or even if they are receptive, that they are not able to take to it seriously? One very important reason is food. So Ram Mishra understood this point. So he said this Tuduvalai will help him change his mind. So he fed him this spinach every day. For many, many days he would do this. So this is the job of a preacher sometimes. A preacher has to do all these things. A preacher doesn't necessarily only have to speak about Krishna. But sometimes the preacher has to create a situation which is favorable for other people to listen about Krishna, to hear about Krishna. So very patiently, he let the super soul do the job. He just fed him. Many times, devotees have complaints about their family members that such and such person is not Krishna conscious and there's so much problem in the house. Feed them Tuduvalai. Of course, even if you feed them Tuduvalai, then you offer it to Krishna and then feed. But in case you don't get Tuduvalai, then any proper prasadam, having been offered with devotion to Krishna, just keep feeding them. Krishna prasadam. And gradually their minds will change, their hearts will change. The trouble arises when we try to become impatient and we want them to become devotees overnight. Even we did not become devotees overnight, but when we see others, we want them to become devotees overnight. And each one is on his or her own spiritual journey over many lifetimes. So where they are on that journey, on that evolution, we do not know. So we can work to the degree that they are willing to listen, we can speak. Otherwise, we should just act in such a way that will facilitate their growth in Krishna consciousness. So a hero, a transcendental hero, is not always, as I said in the morning, very flamboyant and flashy, and he just go and smash the other person intellectually. I have defeated you in argument, my argument is superior, my philosophy is better. That is one kind of heroism. Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had debates with others and they defeated them in debates. Jiva Goswami, they all had debates when they were challenged by others. But that's not the only way. They also preached in other ways. That was not the only way in which they preached. So that was certainly very heroic, the way Ramanuja, Madhva used to debate with great scholars and defeat them. And there was so much intellectual integrity in those days that the person who was defeated would actually become the follower of the victor. So many very established Mayavadi and Jain scholars and Buddhist scholars who were defeated by Ramanuja and Madhva, they actually became the followers of these great acharyas. Many Mayavadi sannyasis who were defeated by Mahaprabhu, they became his followers. However, this other way of preaching is also something very important. We just work with devotees. We work with the people in a very quiet way, step by step, till a time when it comes, when the time is right, then the person will automatically ask about Krishna. There are many such stories of this sort. So Ram Mishra is another kind of hero, but a hero who is very quiet, low profile. He's a preacher, but he spoke when the time came. So a preacher has to know when to speak, when not to speak, what to do, what not to do. And who was another hero in the background? Nath Muni, the grandfather of Yamuna. And it was he who had actually trained young Yamuna with proper sanskars. And it was he who sent Ram Mishra eventually to deliver or to remind Yamuna about his goal of life. And why was Yamuna able to take to Krishna consciousness so easily just with a Tuduvalai and some verses from Bhagavad Gita? Why was he able to do that? Huh? Because his whole childhood was spent like that, because he had those samskars. Because of those sanskars, so he was able to accept it, even though he had fallen deep into worldly pleasures. And he was the king. So we saw many heroes there. In a sense, the king also displayed some heroism. What was the heroism the other king displayed? He was stuck to his word. He gave half the kingdom. Imagine, is it such an easy thing for a king to give half his kingdom just like that to a 12-year-old boy? He stuck to his word and gave it. Nowadays, even after written agreement, stamp, seal, court, still we go back on our words. So because many of these qualities were mentioned earlier, right? Honesty and so on and so forth. So our history is full of such transcendental heroes. I'd like to also continue when we talk of low-profile heroes, doing low-profile things. I want to come back to the topic we had spoken in the previous session about Madhavendra Puri and connect it to two of his disciples, whose names were Ishwar Puri and Ramachandra Puri. And we will see two examples here. A very quiet hero and an anti-hero. We learn from the hero, who is an ideal example of what we should be, an exemplary personality. And there's also an anti-hero, whom we should know what we should not be. We should learn from that person. What we should not do. That is also an important form of learning. So in the Antya Leela of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 8th chapter, there is a description about Madhavendra Puri, Ramachandra Puri, Ishwar Puri, and others as well. It so happened that Ramachandra Puri, who was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, came to Jagannath Puri. And naturally, when he came to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered him obeisances. And Ramachandra Puri remained in the company of devotees. Now this Ramachandra Puri, he was not quite a devotee. He was actually some kind of an impersonalist. That means he believed in the impersonal Brahman. He didn't fully accept the principle of pure bhakti, where you serve and love the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was very critical of people. His nature was that he used to like to find fault with people. Fault finder, habitual fault finder. You meet people like that, isn't it, sometimes? Habitually they find fault. Very easily they find fault with others. So Ramachandra Puri was like that. So one time, a devotee called Jagadananda Pandit, who was a very close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, called Jagadananda Pandit, he called Ramachandra Puri to his place for prasadam. So Ramachandra Puri ate a sumptuous meal of Jagannath prasadam. And after he had eaten to his full satisfaction, then he told Jagadananda Pandit, now you sit down and I will feed you. And as Jagadananda Pandit sat down to eat, Ramachandra Puri kept on feeding him, despite Jagadananda Pandit saying, no, I don't want, I'm full. But he said, no, you must eat. It's prasadam. So he kept on feeding him. And after the prasadam was over and Jagadananda Pandit had washed up, then Ramachandra Puri came up and told him, see, I have always heard before, I used to hear these rumors that the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat too much. But now I have practically seen with my own eyes. Feeding a sannyasi too much spoils the regulative principles. And if a sannyasi eats too much, then it will break his renunciation. So this was his tendency. Can we please close the door? Yes. So this was his habit. He would call people or he would feed people, force them to eat, and because he was such a senior person, everybody would respect him. And after he had forced people to eat, then he would criticize them. You're eating so much, you're overeating. So it became a big problem. So when somebody has a fault-finding nature, they don't stop at criticism at one level. They keep on going. They can criticize anybody. So he also began to criticize his own guru. His own guru, Madhavendra Puri, was in his last few days on this planet. He was very elderly. And he knew that he was about to leave this world. Madhavendra Puri, as we have seen in the earlier session, was such an exalted devotee of Krishna. He was always absorbed in a mood of separation from Krishna, in the footsteps of the Brajabasis. And the Brajabasis, as you know, after Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura and Dwarka, the Brajabasis were in acute feelings of separation. And Madhavendra Puri also was experiencing those symptoms of separation from Krishna. Now, for one who is not acquainted with the principles of pure bhakti, such expressions of spiritual sorrow may appear to be ordinary material sorrow. Only if one understands devotional service properly and is trained in the proper disciplic succession can one understand the mood of the residents of Vrindavan. So now this Ramachandra Puri didn't have any clue of these things. And Madhavendra Puri was such an exalted great devotee. And being in separation, he was always chanting a particular verse, Ahi Dir Dayardra Nath He, Mathura Nath Kadav Lokese, Hridayam Tvad Aloka Katram, Daita Prabhakim Karomyaham. He used to say that, oh my dear Lord, oh Lord of Mathura, oh Krishna, now that I cannot see you, my heart is very much aggrieved. What shall I do now? So in this way, he used to recite this particular verse and experience feelings of deep separation. So when Ramachandra Puri came and saw his guru Madhavendra Puri, he didn't understand his exalted status as a devotee. And because he was more interested in the impersonal Brahman realization, where they don't know about the person Krishna, they're rather more interested in that light, the Brahma Jyoti. They want to merge into that light. So he began to criticize his guru and he said, if you are experiencing so much happiness, then why are you lamenting like this? You should be relishing the bliss of Brahmananda, of worshipping the supreme impersonal light. So now that's the worst thing you can tell a pure devotee. Because kaivalyam narakayate, for a devotee of the Lord, any suggestion to merge into the impersonal Brahman is worse than hell. Because there's no question of serving the Lord in such a situation. So Kaviraj Goswami explains, Shuni Madhavendri mane krodha upajila, dura dura papishta kole bole bharsana karila. So Kaviraj Goswami says that when Madhavendra Puri heard this, please close the door. When Madhavendra Puri heard this, I think it's better to lock it. Lock that door? Yeah. So when Madhavendra Puri heard this, he became very, very angry. And in this way he, dura dura papishta, just go away from here, O sinful person. He rebuked his disciple in great anger. Krishna na payanu mathura, apana dukkhe marun e dite aila jwala. He says, as it is, Krishna na payanu, I haven't got Krishna. Of course he has got Krishna. But the feeling of separation is like that, where you feel you haven't got Krishna. Prabhupada used to caution us. The teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not that you say, I have obtained Krishna. No. We always feel, oh, I have never got Krishna. I'm so far away from Krishna. And the more we feel like that, the more love we have for Krishna, the more we feel like that. So then Madhavendra Puri was saying, Krishna na payanu Mathura. I didn't obtain Krishna. I didn't obtain Mathura. So anyway, I'm suffering in this fire of separation from Krishna. And this fool has come to give me this instruction to merge into the impersonal Brahman. So he said, go away from here. He said, if I see your face and leave my body, then I will get a very bad destination. So you go away from here, go to a distant place so that I don't see you. Because the moment of departure from this world, the moment of death is very important. You see, therefore, when we leave this world, we should be in a situation where we are not much exposed to those things or those people we are very attached to in this world. If you have material attachments, then these things should not be near us when we have to leave the body. So for example, if we are leaving the body, nobody should come and show our iPhone in front of us or a laptop, or nobody should start showing the World Cup replay or something like that to us. Because we will be attached to that and then we will take rebirth accordingly. So rather we should go in a place where we will only remember Krishna. If we see something inauspicious at the time of death, then that will affect our consciousness and therefore our next life. So he said, go away from here. If I see you, I will get a very bad destination in the next life. As it is, I'm suffering for want of Krishna. I have not obtained Krishna. And now you are coming and telling me to merge into the impersonal Brahman? So in this way he very firmly rebuked Madhavendra Puri. I beg your pardon, Ramachandra Puri. So Ramachandra Puri was rebuked thus, and in his heart he began to develop some material desire, and specifically the desire about impersonal Brahman, and he moved further away from the Vaishnava conception. Can the children be moved away from there to some other place outside? So then because of Madhavendra Puri's rebuke, Ramachandra Puri became more and more of an impersonalist. And he didn't relish Vaishnavism, he didn't relish Krishna consciousness so much, devotion to Krishna and so on. He didn't like that. On the other hand, there was Ishwar Puri. Ishwar Puri was a very gentle, humble soul. He wasn't very outspoken like Ramachandra Puri was. He was very soft-spoken, and he served Madhavendra Puri, who was his guru, in an exemplary way. He would, when a person is very aged, very elderly, and about to leave this world, then they are bedridden and they cannot do their functions themselves. So they have to be assisted even in all the basic bodily functions. And Ishwar Puri would take care of all these things without even the slightest hesitation. And he would do it with great joy. Normally these things are very unpleasant and nobody likes to do it. But he did that understanding he was serving a very exalted soul. And he did it with joy and with eagerness. And apart from that, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Ishwar Puri would sit next to Madhavendra Puri as he lay, and he constantly chanted the names of Krishna, he recited the pastimes of Krishna, and he spoke about the Srimad Bhagavatam and so on. So Kaviraj Goswami says that as Madhavendra Puri was lying there about to leave this world, his dear disciple Ishwar Puri was actually helping him to reminding him more and more of Krishna and deepening his love for Krishna. So Madhavendra Puri became very, very pleased with Ishwar Puri. And he gave him the benediction from his heart, a very heartfelt benediction. He said, may you become a great lover of Krishna. May you obtain the prema dhana, the treasure, the priceless treasure of Krishna prem, of love of Godhead. So therefore, we had two contrary examples. One, Ishwar Puri, he served a hero, he became a hero. So if we want to become a transcendental hero, we should serve the heroes. And then he became a hero, a transcendental hero, a great devotee by the blessings of Madhavendra Puri. He became Prema Sagara. Sagar means an ocean. Prem means love. So Ishwar Puri became an ocean of love of Godhead. And where Ishwar Puri became a Prema Sagar, what did Ramachandra Puri become? Sarva Nindakara. He became a critic. He began to criticize everyone without discrimination. So Kaviraj Goswami explains, see the difference. One obtained a benediction of a great soul, and became a great personality. The other obtained the rebuke of a great soul because of an offense, and his Krishna consciousness dried up. And he only became a dry critic of the Vaishnavas. He started criticizing all the devotees. So this is such an important lesson for us too. And Madhavendra Puri, in his last moments of his life, or the last days of his life, as a hero, he sent out these two important lessons for all of us to learn. And then as Ishwar Puri grew and grew and grew in his devotional stature, so much so that eventually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who had come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, became his disciple. He accepted Ishwar Puri as his guru, took initiation from him. And as far as Ramachandra Puri was concerned, he just went on criticizing the devotees. In fact, as he moved around, he even started finding fault in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he would criticize, and somehow these words would come into Mahaprabhu's ears. He would hear from somebody that Ramachandra Puri has been criticizing all the devotees. Ramachandra Puri would go wherever he liked for prasadam without invitation. He would just walk into somebody's house, and they were afraid, and naturally being a Vixen, so they had to offer him prasadam. So nobody knew what he did, where he did, but he would always keep very close track of what everyone else was doing. Who is eating how much, who is eating where. And particularly he liked to keep track of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's whereabouts. Where is he gone today? What is he doing now? How much does he sleep? What does he eat? How much does he eat? What are his other activities? So this was his only work. All day he would have his information. He would go and ask what's happening here, what is happening there. So he began to criticize. One day he came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu all the time was very respectful to him, and he offered him his obeisances. And then Ramachandra Puri saw some ants in the Gambhira, in the room where Mahaprabhu was staying. Just see. This sannyasi is eating sumptuously. He is eating sweets all the time. Otherwise, why will there be ants over here? Sannyasi should control his tongue. He should not overeat. Now, Kaviraj Goswami explains, ants have the habit of going anywhere and everywhere. Sometimes where there are no sweets, you find ants also. So, unnecessarily, Ramachandra Puri began to criticize Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu, when he heard this from Ramachandra Puri, he became very cautious. And he told Govinda, henceforth, I'll eat half of my regular prasadam. And when all the devotees heard that, their hearts were broken. And they were thinking what to do with Ramachandra Puri. And Ramachandra Puri would do that to everybody. He would go and call them and feed them and then keep on criticizing them. So this went on for a while. And then when Mahaprabhu reduced his food, then the other devotees also, they reduced their food. Say, how can we eat when Mahaprabhu is not eating properly? So the whole Gaudiya Vaishnava community started reducing their food in Jagannath Puri. And naturally, Ramachandra Puri heard about all, he was seeing all this. Then he came back to give instruction to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, yes, a sannyasi should not eat too much, but he should not eat too little also. See, you have become very skinny. This is artificial renunciation. So whether he ate anything or he didn't eat, so he was criticizing. And all the devotees came in a delegation to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What to do with this Ramachandra Puri? Our lives have become miserable now. Ever since he has come here to Jagannath Puri, what should we do? Mahaprabhu didn't pay much attention. He's giving the right instructions. Sannyasi must control his senses. Sannyasi must control his eating. It's his right. So Mahaprabhu would speak like this. Finally, Ramachandra Puri left on his own. And all the devotees felt that a big burden like a stone had come off their head on the ground. And after that, Mahaprabhu started eating properly. And then all the devotees started eating normal prasadam. So it goes to show that there is a hero and the anti-hero. So the acharyas explain, in as much as we can learn lessons from the heroes, we should also learn lessons from the anti-heroes. Because it's very important, we should not only learn what we should do, we should also learn what we should not do and what we should be careful about. And then Ramachandra Puri went away, and Ishwar Puri, of course, grew in his devotional realizations, in his devotional stature. And as time went on, then he was visiting Navadvip and young Nimai Pandit. Then you would have very nice discussions with him. And eventually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted initiations from Sri Ishwara Puri. So this is a very important episode because we see these two kinds of examples. Now I would like to ask all of you to share your thoughts on what are the lessons we can learn from the hero and the anti-hero. Ishwar Puri served the great hero Madhavendra Puri and became a hero himself, a transcendental hero. Ramachandra Puri disrespected and offended the great hero and he became a zero. He lost his devotional caliber. So what are the things we can learn, first of all, from Ishwar Puri? Yes, you can raise your hand. Yes. What are the lessons?
Sorry. Always serve your spiritual master submissively and surrender to him at any cost.
Yes, one should serve the spiritual master, and actually one should serve all the Vaishnavas. The exalted Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavas, one should be in a spirit of non-duplicitous service. That service should not be with some material motivation or with some political motive, but it should be rendered with a clean heart. The service to Vaishnavas is very, very important. So this spirit of service will actually, is not so easy to do because we have the ego and we have so many problems that interfere with the process. But this is the verdict of the Srimad Bhagavatam also. Shushrusho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. By serving those great souls whose hearts are full of devotion to Krishna, great service is done. And one develops attraction for the messages of Krishna by doing such service. In other words, Vasudeva Katharuchi, or the taste in hearing about Krishna, arises by serving great souls. The perfection of life is if we develop taste for hearing about Krishna. So if we serve the exalted Vaishnavas, and Vaishnavas in general, we should develop that habit of appreciating the good qualities of the Vaishnavas and serving them. Then we will be able to develop taste for hearing about Krishna. What other lessons can we learn? Yes.
Never criticize Vaishnavas in general, but especially insulted devotees, because sometimes they do things which we can't understand, and from a neophyte perspective, rather than criticizing them, we should think that we can't understand what they're doing.
Yes. One lesson we learn is never criticize Vaishnavas, especially exalted Vaishnavas, and that will cause great damage to our devotional life. I have to meet many times devotees whose minds become shall we say, affected because they read something from the internet. And nowadays this modern internet is a modern, I don't know what to call it, because there are good qualities in internet you can get benefit too. But the asura side of the internet comes up, and all sorts of things, all sorts of criticism. So we should be very careful. Not just that we should not criticize Vaishnavas amongst ourselves when we talk, but nowadays we have to be very careful about the internet, because there's all sorts of things about anyone and everyone, not just devotees. The internet is full of criticism of everybody. Nobody is spared. In the name of free speech, anything goes. You can criticize anything and anyone and no problem. So we have to be very cautious. I remember reading there was this book by M.K. Gandhi, who is popularly known as Mahatma Gandhi. He wrote in 1929 or 30 or something like that in one of his articles. He said previously, only really qualified and educated people would write. But nowadays, with the printing press coming up, he said everybody has started writing, and the only result is they poison everybody else's mind. This he's saying in 1930 or 35, whatever it is. When the press just started, I don't remember exactly when the printing press started, but just around that time. And had he known about internet, what would he have said? So the internet's only purpose, the main purpose, is to poison everybody's mind. So we have to be very, very cautious. This is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is like the mad elephant offense. Whereas Ishwar Puri never criticized. He only saw the good qualities. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, see, he never criticized even Ramachandra Puri. Other devotees, of course, they were naturally, it was their duty, because he was criticizing Mahaprabhu, they had to do something about it. But Mahaprabhu, when he was himself criticized, he didn't take offense to it. And he never criticized Ramachandra Puri. Oh, just see, he criticized me. How can he do that? He himself must be like this or like that or something. No, he never said. He says, yes, yeah, he is a sannyasi. What he said is right. It's a good instruction he has given. It is for others to do the correction, not for the person who has been criticized. So this is a very important lesson for us to learn. What else? What are the other lessons we can learn from this episode? Yes.
Ishwar Puri learned the right things from his spiritual master, and when needed, he actually, in his deathbed, he actually did things so that he could, his spiritual master would go the right way. So he was, I don't know.
Yes. He learned the right things, meaning that he learned properly from his spiritual master, from Madhavendra Puri, and he actually helped his own spiritual master remember Krishna more deeply at the time of death. Of course, Madhavendra Puri was already remembering Krishna in a mood of separation, but he gave him solace and relief by reminding him of Krishna. So this is the greatest solace and relief we can give to people in the world, by reminding them of Krishna. Sometimes, of course, we do have to give solace in practical and ordinary terms. But just see this transcendental relationship between Ishwar Puri and Madhavendra Puri. He would sit next to his bedside and he would recite the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. He would chant the holy names and they would discuss Krishna Katha. So this was a wonderful quality of service that he did. So service to devotees can be of different kinds, and the highest service we can do is to help everybody remember Krishna. That's the greatest service we can do. Any other points? Yes.
We can clearly see a life example of how Krishna rewards or recognizes the pure service of a pure devotee like Ishwar Puri by having him as a spiritual master.
Yes.
He served his guru so purely.
Yes. We can see that when one is in the spirit of service, then how pleased Krishna becomes as a result of that. And for Ishwar Puri, just see the reward he got. What was the reward? Krishna became his disciple. Of course, Ishwar Puri wasn't aspiring. That was not some kind of aspiration that Ishwar Puri had, that I want God as my disciple. He wasn't thinking like that. Even when he understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, that he has become a disciple, he was just wonderstruck to see the Lord's mercy. The Lord is so merciful that he has accepted me. He wants me to play this role for him, to participate in his pastimes in this way. But we can understand how pleased the Lord was with him for this attitude. And you can see the opposite with Ramachandra Khan. Ramachandra Puri, I beg your pardon. Yes, important point. Any other lessons that we learn from here? Yes.
People who are overly critical, they do more harm to themselves than others. Even they are critical of others, but it actually hampers their progress more than anybody else.
Yes, that's also a good point. When somebody is in the habit of criticizing others, he harms himself more than he does others. Because one develops that nature of wanting to criticize others. You see, in this material world, whatever you do, the more you do it, the more you feel like doing it again. Anything, good or bad. The more you chant, the more you feel like chanting. The more you can't, the more you feel like canting. Right? The more you appreciate the good qualities of others, that tendency in you, that attitude, that vision increases. The more we develop the attitude of trying to find fault with others, criticize others, the more that attitude becomes stronger. Then it becomes just more natural for us to find fault with others. It just becomes our nature. Sometimes there may be a fault and sometimes there may not be a fault. But because it is our nature, very easily we find fault with people. And because this is Kali Yuga, Dosha Nidhi, it is an ocean of faults. So it is not at all difficult to see faults. Everywhere around us we see faults. So Ishwar Puri saw the good qualities, and Ramachandra Puri always was looking for faults even though there were none. That's good. Any other lessons that we can learn? Yes.
One lesson we can see is that when we are not happy in whatever processes that we are following, maybe because we are following the wrong process or we are following the right process improperly, then the process doesn't give us satisfaction. Then we are unhappy, then we are envious of seeing other people happy who are following the process correctly. And then we tend to do all these things, like what Ramchandra was doing, consciousness for us, or finding fault, because we can't tolerate that other people are happy in their respective process. There is something.
Yes, when we don't follow the process properly, or when we follow the wrong process, then we develop this tendency of finding fault and criticizing others who are following the process correctly. Yes. And just see the difference it made, how much havoc it caused in the devotee community in Jagannath Puri. Everybody's eating was down to 20%, 25%. They were practically starving. And only when Ramachandra Puri left, then everybody started eating again, because Mahaprabhu started eating normal prasadam. In any case, he was not eating too much, but he resumed. Yes. Any other lessons for today from this episode? Yes.
The mode of accepting Bhakti because
They?
the mode of accepting Bhakti because both were trained by the same guru, but both accepted in two different ways.
Yes. That's a very good point. That both were disciples of the same guru, but see the difference. One accepted the teachings properly, the other didn't accept the teachings properly, and see the whole world of a difference between the two. Rain will fall without regard to whether it is stony land or whether it is fertile land. But in the fertile land, the crops grow because of the rain. In the stony land, even when it rains, nothing grows. So the rain is equal to all. So the mercy of Krishna through the pure devotees comes. But if we are not receiving it properly, then the result will not happen. The devotional creeper will not grow. Therefore we see that Ishwar Puri's heart became full of love for Krishna, and Ramachandra Puri's heart became full of criticism for the Vaishnavas and even for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's up to us how we take the teachings. We may be learning from the same source. One person learns it in one way, another person learns it in another way, and end up with completely different destinations and results. Very important point. Any other lessons? Yes.
We should be very careful of Vaishnava because it leads to more and more Vaishnava.
Yes, that point was there. We should be very careful of Vaishnava Aparad because it leads to more of Vaishnava Aparad. As I said, the more of something that you do, the more you feel like doing it again and again. There is a saying in India that if you do something 12 times, it becomes a habit. But we shouldn't think that, okay, let me criticize a devotee 11 times and I'll stop. But by the time the habit is developing, so the sanskar is there already in the mind. So you feel like doing it again. That taste comes up. So Ramachandra Puri actually developed a taste for criticizing, for finding fault. That means he actually relished it. He felt nice doing it. That's the nature of this habit. Relish, you relish doing something. So we have to be very cautious. We have to always try to see the good qualities and try to nurture and encourage those good qualities. Undoubtedly there are bad qualities also, which is why we are here in this material world. But by nurturing those good qualities and very intelligently dealing with the bad qualities in ourselves and with others, gradually we can follow in the footsteps of Ishwar Puri. And our hearts will also one day become full of love for Godhead as his heart was. Any other lessons? Yes.
I feel that the human brain is hardwired for negativity. That's the normal nature that you criticize, and even after doing chanting, if such thoughts keep arising, then one should actually consult a senior Vaishnava or Vaishnava to find out why he is still getting these thoughts in spite of doing chanting regularly.
Okay, your question is that the human brain is hardwired for finding fault. Yes, not just the human brain. It is the conditioned soul in this material world. This is the mentality of the conditioned soul. Once we are here, we become very envious, critical, and so on. So, Krishna consciousness is a solution to overcome this critical mentality. But Ramachandra Puri, mind you, is also an associate of the Lord. He is participating in this Leela to teach us some lessons. There is a book called Gauda Ganodesha Deepika. And in that book, the personalities or the devotees who participated in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, their identities in Krishna Leela are also mentioned. Just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram, and so on and so forth. So does anyone know who is Ramachandra Puri? Jatila. Very nice. He's actually also Vibhishan. He says he's Lord Ram's devotee Vibhishan, who has come for a certain service in this way. And Jatila has also entered. So Ramachandra Puri had the nature of Jatila. Who is Jatila? Mother-in-law of Srimati Radharani. So therefore, in Krishna Leela and Goloka Vrindavan also these things go on. The mother-in-law, daughter-in-law kind of things, they happen. But there it is transcendental. Okay, so these personalities are very important for us to learn, the hero and the anti-hero. Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, and Ramachandra Puri. So now it is 6 o'clock, we will stop here. And our next talk will be tomorrow in the morning, I think at 7:30. Meanwhile, today there are other programs to follow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.